What's good, everybody? Welcome. It is time for the Snug Wrestling Podcast NXT review with Tommy and myself. My name is Edgar. I am the host of Snug Wrestling Podcast. Tommy, this week's episode of NXT was a lot better than last week's, if I'm being honest. What a major improvement, man. I gotta say, I really enjoyed this week's NXT, even though some of the outcomes wasn't really how I predicted things to go. But we got new champions being crowned left and right all over this thing, unexpected turn of events. Overall, man, most of the stuff on this card for NXT was really enjoyable to me, and we will get into it. Tommy, how you feeling, bro? How's everything this week?
I'm feeling good. Like, there was one problem I have, and that was with the opening match with the damn Vanity Project. God, I hate that group so goddamn much. But we will get to that here in a second, and my massive gripe on the ending of that match. I hate it so much. But still, overall, the show mostly ups for me. We had like 3 different title changes tonight. One retention. One of them, I full-blown called the beginning of spot for spot. That being with Sol Ruka and JC Jane. But we'll get to that. But still, show itself was mostly great for me.
Yeah, I think it was for me too, man, because we finally got that major turn from Zarya and Sol Ruka that we all saw coming miles away for feels like a few months now. And Tommy, you brought this up last week. You're like, I think it's gonna happen on this episode of NXT, and it did. But yeah, dude. Also, the opening match was the tag team championship match. The Vanity Project, who got this opportunity after winning a fatal 4-way tag team match out of sheer fucking luck, right? I was like, out of all these fucking teams, they better not put the Vanity Project over, man. Literally the worst tag team of all these tag teams, right? And they did. And they even took it a step farther. These motherfuckers won the NXT championships over the Dark State. And this is how annoying these guys are, the Vanity Project. The Dark State are heels, and the fans were cheering for the Dark State. That's how much the people do not like these fucking guys, the Vanity Project. So I'm thinking this whole thing, right? This match, I'm like, this has to be an easy win for Dark State, right? Because not only are they physically more impressive, they're better athletes, they just look cooler, they're better in the ring, they're a lot bigger. Like, this should be a fucking easy win for Dark State.
But
no. What the fuck happened here, Tommy? I know we got like a distraction by the Evolve champion at some point, and then fucking Tony D'Angelo, who's supposed to be a babyface, he comes out. But this is a confusing part. Like I mentioned before, the fans were chanting for Dark State. They were cheering for Dark State because they don't like the Vanity Project. No one likes the Vanity Project. Tony D'Angelo comes out. He attacks one of the Dark State guys, which makes sense because he's feuding with the Dark State. But the fans booed it because they don't want to see the Dark State lose to the Vanity Project. So it's kind of like, oh shit, it's Tony D'Angelo. Oh shit, it's Tony D'Angelo. Don't do it, Tony. Don't do it. And he fucking did it. He cost Dark State the NXT Tag Team Champions to the Vanity Project.
God, I hated this so goddamn much. I hated it. In fact, I was watching it while hanging out with a couple of friends earlier today. And as soon as the ending of this match happened, my friend Sophie messages me and she's like, hey, what in the world are you complaining about? Are you good? Are you okay? I'm like, yes, it's just a wrestling thing that you would not understand. But I hate the outcome so goddamn much. God, I hate the Vanity Project so much. Out of all of the damn tag teams in the tag team division to put the tag team titles on, you choose the Vanity Project? Are you kidding me? The worst tag team out of them all. The only interesting thing about this match didn't even happen in the match. It wasn't even part of the match at all. It involved Dion Lennox and his face-off and almost go at with the Evolve champion. That was the only thing I found interesting about this match because I didn't give a shit about it because the Vanity Project was involved. And just like I thought, it would have been better if it was any of the other 3 goddamn tag teams from that Fatal 4-Way. Because the Vanity Project themselves only drags down almost any goddamn match they're in. Plain and simple on that one.
Yeah, I don't see what Shawn Michaels or NXT or anyone sees in these fucking guys, if I'm being honest, dude. Like, they're just so bland and fucking just blah. But yeah, man, they're the new NXT champions. They've only been on NXT officially for like a few weeks.
For like a month and a half. And that's it.
And now they're NXT champions. I'm just like, my God, bro. Like, this is a slap in the face to, I don't know, I guess us. I don't know. Because I'm like, they wouldn't, right? They wouldn't dare, right? And God damn it, bro. But hey, I guess that's just wrestling sometimes, man. You know, they want to piss people off sometimes, and they did it, man. No one in that fucking arena was happy about this, bro. Everyone was like, "What the fuck, bro? This is insane."
I mean, I get what they were trying to do with the whole Tony D'Angelo portion, because his entire plan is to take everything from Dark State and pick them off one by one. But you could have done that with a match against anyone else other than the Vanity Project. And everything else would have been just fine. The fans would have been happy. But because it was during a match with the Vanity Project, everyone hated it completely because no one likes the Vanity Project. They are way too out there. I hate them so much. And this is coming from a damn theater kid who's out there himself completely, who's an outgoing kid overall. I hate how the Vanity Project is. And now I have to see them on my screens even more. But then again, knowing how the main event went, that was probably why they put the tag titles on them, is because of what happened with Ethan Page. But we'll get to that later.
I don't think that has anything to do with this, man. That's its own thing. And yeah, we'll get into that because
Not really, because he's been mentoring him.
Right, but I don't think how the main event went down has anything to do with the fact that the Vanity Project are NXT champions. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. Keanu Carver faced Eli Knight, and Keanu Carver won. This was a competitive match. Eli Knight is another guy from Evolve that gets a lot of TV time on NXT. Cool. He's athletic. I guess, whatever. I mean, Keanu Carver got over, which the right guy. Keanu Carver is the right guy to go over. He's the one that they're putting more attention on. It was a match. They kind of they're trying to make Eli Knight look good also at the same time. So this match was really competitive. I don't know if that's really a good look for Keanu Carver, but hey, whatever. He got the win. He hit his finisher, which a lot of fans aren't really a fan of Keanu Carver's finisher. We got some comments on our socials that this his finisher is kind of mid. It's kind of boring. Blah blah blah. It's kind of like a some type of 360 suplex kind of slam. It's hard to explain. I don't know the name of it. I have the clip on our socials if you guys want to check it out. But what did you think of this match, Tommy?
It was a match that happened. It really was. Overall, it was a foregone conclusion at this point that Keanu Carver was going to win it because they've been putting him out as a absolute beast, almost the size of Brock Lesnar. So it was basically a foregone conclusion that Keanu Carver was winning it. Although, yes, it was competitive, but at the end of the day, it still ended up being an absolute feeding that we knew what the ending was going to be.
Then we had a triple threat speed championship match. Usually a speed championship match is 5 minutes, but because this is NXT and everything has to be crazy and chaotic and bouncing off the walls, the new general manager, Stones, thought it would be a good idea to make this championship match a 3-way because we don't see enough of those, and making it a 7-minute match. We got a new speed champion. Elio LaFleur is the new speed champion, but whatever. What did you think?
Finally, the ironic joke is dead. It is gone. The slowest man on the roster is no longer holding the title that's meant for speed. So, I honestly, out of this, it was a great triple threat. It really was, at least for me. I know you hate triple threats, but this one worked. And Elio LaFleur, or however the hell you pronounce his last name, great for him. It only fits that some sort of luchador is holding the speed title, because that's basically what luchadors are known for. They're high flyers, but they also are extremely fast. So having a luchador hold the speed title, it just fits. It works perfectly. And at this point, he had another title match, I believe, for the North American at one point. So it only fits that at this point. He said that he was going to go for the skies and go straight for it. That's exactly what he did. And he ended up scoring the speed title, a title that no one really cares about. But at this point, he may be able to elevate it even more, for all we know.
All right, and then we had the women's NXT Championship match, Sol Ruka versus JC Jane. This match I was looking forward to because we were all kind of expecting the heel turn to happen by Zarya, right? And it did. However, it happened before the match, during the introductions, during the weigh-ins. Zarya attacks Sol Ruka before the bell. JC Jane takes advantage. The referee rings the bell. JC Jane hits Sol Ruka. 1, 2, 3. JC Jane retains in like 15 seconds or less, right? Since the bell rang. Now, I was excited to see this because I felt like this turn was coming from a long time ago. People were expecting it. We were wondering when it was going to happen. They've been kind of fighting with each other, Zarya and Sol Ruka, for feels like forever, right? So they've been building up this feud for quite some time, and it finally reached this breaking point. But for something that they've been building up for this long, it kind of felt like
it was underwhelming.
Yeah, it was like, all right, well, let's just do it really quick, and then boom, that was it. It was so quick. I guess for something like this, I guess we're just used to seeing a little bit more I guess, drama. I was expecting to see a match, maybe a few false finishes, maybe at the very end, Zarya cost Sol Ruka the match behind the referee's back. Something more, I guess, crazier. But no, it was just like, all right, well, here it is. There's the heel turn. 1, 2, 3. Sol Ruka loses. How did you feel about this one, Tommy?
Yeah, I will admit that this entire match, because of how fast it was in fact spoiled for me. If you can even call it a match for that. Because it was one hit, done. But backstage, JC Jane was like, I finally did it. I beat Sol Ruka. Yeah, you did. After a spear and a goddamn F5 from Zarya. Notice the fact that you did not do it on your own. It was Zarya's heel turn that gave you that shot to take her out in one hit. That is what happened. You did not fully beat Sol at her best like you think you do. You only beat her because Zarya turned on Sol. Plain and simple on that one. But this quote-unquote match, because it really was just one hit, done. Because, yeah. But still, it was truly underwhelming, like was already said, simply because of that heel turn. I was expecting something like what happened with Finn Balor and Damian Priest a while back. Like back when Damian and Rhea were kicked out and Liv was put in. That's what I thought was going to happen. Like an actual match happens and then Zarya costs Sol the title. That's what I thought was going to happen. But that's not how it went down. So it was a thing that happened, and unfortunately, there was nothing big into it. The only thing that happened after that was that Sol got slammed onto the announce table, and then Zarya said, Sol snatch that, bitch. So we'll see where in the world that goes. That's obviously leading to a match, probably at the recently announced Stand and Deliver. So maybe that's where they put that.
Stand and Deliver is like it was supposed to happen around WrestleMania weekend, but I think they moved it to another day. But isn't Vengeance coming up? Maybe they'll do that.
Vengeance is next Saturday. It's next week.
Yeah, I think that's probably where they'll do it, but we'll see. But yeah, the heel turn finally happened from Zarya. And then we move on to the next women's match, Thea Hale versus Blake Monroe. Thea Hale defeated Blake Monroe again for the second time in a row. But this time it was thanks to Jada Parker. Now, there's been some weird stuff going on with Jada Parker. After the match between that Jada Parker had versus Blake Monroe, there was a weird spot that happened where I think Blake Monroe was trying to hit either a suplex or a DDT. There was some confusion there. And I don't know if you saw this, Tommy, but Jada Parker accidentally landed on her head. It looked pretty bad, right? And then after that, Jada Parker was off TV for a couple weeks, and there was reports going around that she had injured her neck in that spot. But there was mixed reporting because later on I saw that Jada Parker was off NXT TV supposedly because of this injury, but she was doing house shows, NXT house shows. So it was like supposedly the WWE took her off TV, but they were still having her wrestle. But if she was injured, why take her off TV and still have her wrestle at the house shows? I don't know. There was something weird going on. Point is, Jada Parker has not been on NXT TV for the past couple weeks. But she came back this episode of NXT to cost Blake Monroe, which was a speed tournament match versus Thea Hale or something like that, right?
Yeah.
What did you think about this match, Tommy?
I had a feeling Thea Hale was going to move on to the next round. Whether she goes up against, I believe it's either Nikita Lyons or... crap, why in the world can't I remember her name? So Ren Sinclair, that's who it is. Whether it's Nikita Lyons or Ren Sinclair, I don't think she's making it past them. I really don't. But at this point, it had to be Thea Hill because of Jada Parker. Simply because of that. When it comes to that injury portion, I'm with you. It makes no sense on why in the world you would try to make her sell this injury only to still put her on house shows. It makes zero sense because if she's being seen there, people's responses are going to be, okay, but why isn't she on TV? It gives mixed signals. It's all over the place. But this match, it had to be Thea Hill winning. But I don't think she's going to win the next round.
All right, and then we had a singles match between two guys. I got to be honest with you, I don't really know. I'm not too familiar with. One of them, his last name is Dixon. The other one is Connors, and I believe Connors is like a second generational wrestler, the son of some WWE legend. I think I want to say Finley or something. I don't know. I don't remember. Dixon though, he has a good look, man. He's athletic. He's pretty impressive. But Connors won this one, and this has to do with this whole faction that Lexus King is trying to put together of a bunch of second generation superstars or whatever. But this was just this match was whatever to me, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, it really was whatever. I didn't really care about it because I didn't know either of these guys. The only thing that I knew is that it was related to the whole second generation shit. That is all I knew out of this. So if there was more to it than that, maybe I would be a little bit more interested in it. But because of the fact that there wasn't anything else, I didn't really have any feelings on it because it was mid-ground. But that was pretty much all I had thought on it.
All right. And then we go to the main event, and this is one of the reasons why I enjoyed this episode of NXT. Besides, the Zarya heel turn, and even though the opening tag team match was not what I wanted to see, the outcome of how that turned out, it was still unexpected. It popped me, for better or for worse. We got a new North American champion. Miles Bourne defeated Ethan Page, the best North American champion. Ethan Page, the streak has ended after 260 plus days. What a great fucking run Ethan Page had a North American champion. The main event was a hell of a match. I can get behind the story that they were trying to tell these guys. Miles Bourne, this kid who's deaf, this kid who was bullied growing up, who, in his own words, is not supposed to be in the WWE, because of, him having his speech problems that he has. But Miles Bourne has overcame all those things, right? And this is a good feel story that anyone can get behind. He's a great wrestler. He's a great athlete. But despite all that, regardless, I was still pulling for Ethan Page, man. I'm a huge Ethan Page fan. I'm a fan of both of these guys. I like both of these guys, right? But there was a part of me that was like, yes, that's nice and all. That's a cool story, bro. But I want to see Ethan Page retain, because I love Ethan Page's North American title run. However, I was happy to see Miles Bourne win it for all those reasons. But also now, my first thought, holy shit, Ethan Page lost the North American champion. Take this man to the main roster ASAP. That was my first thought, but what did you think, Tommy?
Unfortunately, the ending of this match was spoiled for me. Not the match itself or anything that happened in it, but what showed up on my feed was Miles Bourne changing the side plates. So Unfortunately, that spoiled that for me. But I still popped for it, even knowing that. Please, Miles Bourne, change that damn strap. Please change it. Change it back. As much as it worked for Ethan Page is the only person that strap will work for. So that's a big thing. And one of the things that Miles Bourne said right after finishing changing the plates was that Ethan Page really only represented one country out of the entirety of North America, that Miles Bourne will represent them all. So that's a big thing. I am so interested to see where in the world Miles Bourne goes with this title. And what I love most about Miles Bourne is the fact that he's disabled with his hearing and all of that. One of the biggest things with one of my theater groups that I do is it is a theater group specifically for people with disabilities, basically showing that even though, yes, we have them, it will not hold us down whatsoever. So that's the biggest thing that I love about Miles Bourne, is the fact that he truly does show that by being in NXT for as young as he is. For him being in NXT, the possibility of him being pulled up to the main roster, like just that alone is really big for him. But I am also extremely with you. Ethan Page just lost the one thing that was keeping him down here. Pull him up, please. You've already got Trick Williams and Javon Evans up there, literally in the Elimination Chamber. A man within Javon Evans that is younger than the Elimination Chamber himself. He is in the Elimination Chamber. You've already got some big names up there. There are two names that people have been clamoring for to be pulled up to the main roster, and that would be Sol Ruca and good old Ethan Page. Please pull Ethan Page up there.
I'll agree with one of those names.
You're wrong. Just look at the IWC. But still, that is like the biggest thing. Pull Ethan Page up to the main roster. That would be the biggest thing for him. He's already done everything he needed to do in NXT. Imagine how big he's going to be on the main roster.
What if he's in the box?
If he's in that goddamn box.
No. Let it be Ethan Page. Please let it be Ethan Page in that box, bro. I would pop so big for that, bro.
Wait, now that I think about it, what if that is the reason why they took the title off of them right now?
Shit.
Chamber is literally this weekend. So maybe, I don't think so. Simply because of how far long ago that box was even put in. It was literally put in like last Monday. So I don't think so. But again, and we said this during our predictions for the Chamber, we have zero clues on what in the world that box could be besides its size. So maybe it's a possibility.
Anything can happen in the WWE, pal. Well, yeah, man, that was a crazy episode of NXT. We got new champions, we got turns, we got all kinds of shit, man. But that was that was a dope episode, man. It flew by. Just like this review that we did flew by, Tommy. Like always, it's a pleasure. Thank you for being our NXT expert, and we'll catch you guys on the next one next week. We'll see what NXT has in store for us. So thanks to everyone that checked in on what's going on in the Performance Center. And let's get up out of here, y'all.
All right. So remember, tomorrow and every Thursday, you can catch Mr. Blood and our fearless leader, Snug, within their one-on-one on TikTok Live for an hour, where they go through current and relevant wrestling topics. You can catch us here every Monday, every Friday, right after Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown, respectively. This weekend, we've also got the Elimination Chamber. We will be reviewing that as well. You can catch us right back here every Wednesday for NXT. Go get the merch, you can go to tpublic.com/snug_wrestling. That is TEE public.com/snug_wrestling. There we go. So, there we go. That's one time for the one time, boys. That was 4 letters, 1 word. Oh, yeet.